To determine the ROI reporting of a particular email campaign, there's a few things we need to set up. The first thing is to actually record the investment for this particular email campaign. So that's the costs. In marketing activities, find your email campaign, click on the setup tab, and what you'll notice over here is costs and a period cost. Drag and drop the period cost over. Pick the month that the cost was incurred. So let's say, for example, this campaign, it was February. Give it a cost and describe what that cost was. For example, internal labor plus creative. And then click Save. So now we've recorded the costs of the actual campaign. The next thing we need to do is actually tell Marketo what is program success for this particular program. So the way to do that is firstly understand what the members tab is. So the members tab of an email program or any program in Marketo shows you who's actually been involved in this campaign and what is their status. So you'll notice the status at the moment is member. If we click change status, you'll notice that there's 3 different types of statuses here. Now, to understand what a success status is, it's usually the last one. So engaged would be the one. So if we change the status of this particular member to engaged, that would tell Marketo this was a success for this program. Now, in order to do this, what we need to do is either set up a trigger before the campaign runs, or if it's at the end of a campaign, we can then create a smart campaign which will essentially set the success for this particular email campaign. So for this particular campaign, we're simply going to run our campaign to update the member status. Now in this case, we could say that anyone who clicked the email, so clicked link in email, and in this particular case, we'll select the email of this campaign, so the internal test send personalization email. And if they've clicked that at all, then what we need to do for those people is to actually change their status. So change program status to engaged. Here we go. And then in the schedule part, we'll simply run this. So what we'll do is we'll run it once and we'll select run now. So that's a tiny micro workflow which will go over all the leads and set the success status to whatever we require, according to what is success for us in this particular campaign. So now if we go back to our campaign, the internal test send, and we look at members, what we'll notice now is this particular lead has been set to engage. So that would have been someone who clicked on the email. So now we've told Marketo what is success for this particular campaign. Now, in terms of the Dyson example, let's find something a bit more real. Rather than clicking a link in an email, we want to measure an actual conversion. So in that case, what we might do is say, if the person visited a web page within the last, say, day, because we ran this a day ago, then what we would want is to find the, for example, purchase page success. So that means that they've visited and successfully purchased a vacuum in the last day, but we also need to say they have clicked on the email. So we want clicked link in email, and the email we would want is the personalization email that we sent out. And we would remove the date. So what this is telling us now is essentially we want everyone who clicked the link on the email and then as a result visited the web page within a certain time frame and purchased a vacuum cleaner. So in the Dyson example, this is our conversion. It's not whether someone clicked on the email, it's whether someone purchased on the website. So this is how you would do the Dyson example. It's simplified, but it does get the idea across. And the flow would be exactly the same. We would just be setting the success criteria, telling Marketo that for this particular leads, the campaign was successful. Once we've set both the investment and what is success for this particular program, we can now run a report which will give us an idea of the ROI. If we right click and we select a new local asset, we'll want a report, and the report we want is program performance. Then let's add our name to the end of the name of the report and click create. We also need to limit this particular report to only the campaign we want. So in this particular case, we'll select programs, we'll select the internal test send here to limit the report. And now if we click on the report tab, what we'll see is a few things. So now if we look at this report, what it will show us is an idea of the ROI. So what we'll see here is the program that it ran for, the total members that were involved, the number of leads that it was successful for, so that's a percentage of success, the total cost, the total cost per member, so split by the volume. And then if we scroll across, we'll get the cost per success. So that gives us an idea of how much it costs per conversion. And that will give us an idea of the ROI. Now, if we use then the metrics we had back in the lean canvas, for example, for the Dyson vacuum cleaner, we know how many conversions we need, so we've got that. But if we also have the figures around how much money we make off each sale, then we can calculate the exact ROI because we can determine how much money this campaign made.